Hi, I'm Paisha Thomas, and I live and work in the Columbus area. I am an artist and a social justice advocate in the community. I create music through songwriting and singing, and I also create pottery, ceramic pottery, and sculptures. The sculptures and pottery that I make are typically in the form of the Venus archetype, and in this case, they are to represent the Venus of African descent, and they also are meant to highlight body positivity and acceptance of the fat black woman body. And so in these pieces, you can see in the sculpture and in the mugs how that comes about in this form of pottery and sculpture. So I do the practice of throwing ceramics, where I place it on the wheel and begin to engage in throwing the piece, and I decide ahead of time if this is going to be a sculpture or a mug or a flower pot, and create that piece on the wheel. And then once I finish throwing it, I begin to sculpt and push push the form from the inside out of the woman. After it goes through a little bit of drying process, I then do some carving and adding some extra detail until I think it's ready to present and ready to dry. Once this clay is dried, it goes through the kiln in a bisque process. It's called bisque firing, and that's just to solidify the clay and get it ready to be glazed. And then once it's glazed, once it's bisqued, we glaze it, and then after glazing, it goes back into the kiln, and it comes out a finished product. I use brown bear clay now, which is what you see here in these photos. Regarding my process for music and songwriting, I get asked that question a lot, and the answer is I use various processes for writing songs. Sometimes I'm inspired by an event, an occurrence. This song, When, was inspired by just in my activism journey, I guess, exhaustion about singing We Shall Overcome. And my exhaustion was singing these civil rights songs which give us such hope, even though we've been singing these same songs and making the same music about the same topic. So I was inspired in that way to ask the question, when will we overcome? And it's still, in that vein of inspiring people to continue to fight for justice and peace. What inspires me? That's also a question that has, I think, several answers. I'm really inspired when I see people continue to push past their obstacles and become better. I'm often inspired by just the sky and the sunset, sunrise, if I ever get to see it. I tend to sleep late, but the sunrise is a very inspiring time and moment in nature. I'm often inspired by feelings of, any kind of emotion attached to a relationship or, a current event. So, but my overall, what I think keeps me going is the belief that my dedication to my values will bring about some kind of progress and growth in the world. Um, I think that art and artists in our community, the role that contemporary art and artists serve in our community or society is that, you know, I believe that our work should tell a story of where we are at the time. And that's not a new concept. We've heard Nina Simone say the same thing, that an artist's work should reflect the times that we're in. When we look back at historical art in the humanities, we see that. We see that art tells a story of the culture, of things that were happening in the ways of life that people adopted and had and continued. And so I feel like art should and does, I think, by nature, tell a story of where we are in any given moment. And to me personally, I feel like my art should be the strength or the power that I possess to make the changes that I want to see in the world. So not only are we reflecting what is happening, but what can we do as artists with our work to bring about a thing that we want to see in the world where we live. So 100 years from now, if a work of my art is in an exhibition, what do I hope that viewers would think about, and how would I hope it might affect you? I hope that, as I just said, that if you look at anything that I've left behind, see that my voice was attempting to solve a problem. It was attempting to tell a story, and the story that I hope that people will see from my work is that the value of a Black human being in this country, America, where I was born, has contributed to so many factors of our existence, and that we are not as society has sort of cast us here. We have endured chattel slavery. We have endured systemic oppression, and yet we have created multitudes of resources for this country. So I hope that when people look back at my life and my work, they see that that's the story that I'm telling, that we have value and we have contribution.